8 of them. They were killed in the morning. They were still sleeping. They shot them and left.
This is from a report written by Itzhak Levy, who was commander of the Haganah Intelligence Service in Jerusalem, dated 12th of April 1948, which is 3 days after it happened. The conquest of the village was carried out with great brutality. Whole families, women, old people, children were killed and piles of corpses accumulated. Some of the prisoners taken to places of detention, including women and children, were brutally murdered by their guards. Among the prisoners was a young mother and baby. The guards killed the baby in front of its mother, and after she fainted, also murdered her.
Palestinians had been fleeing their homes for safer places since December 1947. But after Deir Yassin, a mass exodus began. Menachem Begin, the Irgun's leader, said the massacre was a lie, propagated by his political rivals and by Jew haters around the world. But Begin said the legend of terror was worth half a dozen battalions because Arabs were seized with panic when they heard the Irgun was coming. Palestinian radio made the atrocity sound even worse than it was, to stiffen Arab resistance. The reports made the civilians even more terrified.
May God curse the reporters who came to us. They were servants of Jewish imperialism. They published stories about their crimes, the massacre, how they violated our women. This helped the Jews, not us. It scared us and made us worry about our honor.
King Abdullah of Transjordan and other Arab leaders came under strong domestic pressure to intervene. Ben Gurion sent Abdullah an apology. Four days after Deir Yassin, there was another massacre. A column of Jewish doctors and nurses was attacked by Palestinians at Mount Scopus in Jerusalem. Their vehicles were set on fire and many were burnt to death. 78 people were killed. Jaffa, just south of Tel Aviv, was in the Arab state in the partition plan. What happened here helps explain why so many Palestinians fled. In April 1948, Arab sniping out of Jaffa was answered by heavy shelling from the Irgun.
The Jews attacked Jaffa, and by bombarding Jaffa, they made the conditions for the Arabs to leave, because the Arabs were afraid that they will be killed. So it wasn't voluntarily, but it was a result of the battle.
But the flight was triggered by more than force.
We let them know in different ways, not in pamphlets, not over the radio, not officially. We let them understand that it's better if they leave because the Jews are terrible. And don't stay here when the Jews come in.
So this was psychological warfare?
In a small scale.
The people flee because of this massacre that happened in Deir Yassin. They were afraid that the same thing will happen here in Jaffa.
Palestinian society was collapsing. Some Israelis claim that the Palestinians were leaving on the orders of Arab leaders to wait for victory. Jewish leaders had discussed moving Arabs out of Palestine for years, but denied that was anything to do with their departure.
Does Israel bear any responsibility for the exodus of Palestinians in 1948?
No.
There are some historians who say that Plan D was a blueprint for the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, of Arabs. Is that true?
No. You know, as I say, I was present at the creation. I don't mind what the historians are writing. I watched with their own eyes. Ben-Gurion did not want that the Arabs will leave the country.
When we spoke to President Peres of Jerusalem, he said that Israel bears no responsibility whatsoever for the exodus of Palestinians.
No responsibility whatsoever. Then what caused the exodus to happen? It was the Israeli massacre of villagers, of people whom they encountered. I can count to you scores of massacres which happened all over the country. Do you think that anybody would leave his home unless he was really threatened?
That's what Peres said to us.
I'm surprised that President Peres has said so.
The 14th of May 1948, the last day of the British Mandate. Britain's legacy to Palestine was a legal system, red pillar boxes, chaos, and war. The same day, David Ben-Gurion announced that the State of Israel would come into existence at midnight. Within hours, the country was under attack.
We heard the explosions, and I said to my wife, I said, the game's on. They're bombing Tel Aviv. Their main targets were the Reading power station, the Tel Aviv airfield, the central bus station, and they were really bombing Tel Aviv with impunity because there was nothing to stop them.
That day, 5 Arab states invaded. The Egyptians advanced from the south towards the main Jewish center of Tel Aviv. The Lebanese barely crossed the northern border, with the Syrians attacking at either end of the Sea of Galilee. Further south came the Iraqis, while in the center, Transjordan's Arab Legion advanced towards the West Bank